Alright, hey YouTube, how you doing? It's Max. This is a re-recording video. The video that was supposed to be sent or scheduled for today apparently didn't have any audio. So in this one, I'm just going to kind of guess what I talked about and record it today. So a couple weeks ago, I made 128 non-playable characters. And so this was at the time supposed to help me understand a bit more about the different culture of each of the 9 settlements that we have. So I have a lot more than 128 NPCs at the time of the thing, but it was kind of just a showcase. So how I have them kind of organized in these different folders. So you've got Castleguard, Dorconia, Imildestad, Gunner's Grim, Hallowhane, Manaheim. Have a separate one for the Manaheim Academy. New is just a accidental folder I made. Novalock, different PCs that you can be. These are teams, which I'll explain in a later video about the. In Dorconia, I have this Coliseum where there's different so on top of all these NPCs, the teams also have each of the settlements as well. It's kind of like sports teams, if you would, but it's like basically a tournament style combat mini game. So that's what those are, and then the Atlantis, Victoria. So these are all the kind of folders I have them in. A few weeks ago, these were the character creations. So every character has a portrait so if we go into the folders, you can see their faces here. So see this is the Castle Guard nobles. So you can kind of see them up here. These last 8 individuals. This is their character portrait, and then you also have the I don't know if I made combat things for the NPCs because I wasn't expecting to fight with them, but also in characters you have their I guess this is like their defeated stance if you wanted to put them in the world in like a defeated kind of sleep stance or knocked out. But then there's also the walking um, uh, pictures that you animate. So pretty much this would be one of these like 3x4 rectangles would be one character. So it's 12 icons and you kind of animate them. You can kind of see with this guy in the middle, that's his normal standing position. And then he has two kind of walking images. And as they walk, you kind of animate them to walk. Um, so there's the face, there's the standing. You can kind of see their icon right now is all their standing icon. The face, the overworld, and then eventually, if I were to make them fighting, they would have the combat kind of images as well. So there's 128 of those. Pretty much, I think in the last video I just kind of showcased this, or not the last video, but the video that didn't have any audio. You can kind of this map is pretty much just to talk to them. You can see their faces. I gave them all random names as well. So in past videos, I talked about how I kind of come up with um, random names for characters. Let me see if I can pull something up real quick. So I think Airtable, and then if we go to the name system here. I think I probably showcased this in the original video, but I just have a generic 20 names, so 20 male name, 20 female, and 20 surnames of just kind of like brainstorming ideas of a genre or culture that I want to base each region off of. So you can kind of if I, ever get stumped on what to name someone, I can just refer to that list. It's not like a science. I don't think I'm going to always refer to that list, but just to, there's a lot of characters. Eventually, I want to make another spreadsheet where it's just tracking all of them, but I don't even know who I'm using, who I'm not using. So if I wanted to use a kid from Gunner's Grim, I can use this boy or I can use this girl. They don't have names, I guess. I forgot to put names on their things when I was programming them, but some of them should have names. I guess it's just like these guys, like Helen. So But yeah, just showcasing that. I'll go through, I guess, what each culture is kind of based on. Pretty much, Castle Guard is your standard medieval um, kind of European colony. I wanted Dorconia to be a bit more, I guess, colorful. They're kind of like red versus blue. I kind of for this Dorconia, I kind of wanted a bit more Mediterranean influence. So anything from Spanish to Italian to Greece. So if there was anything that was kind of like Greek mythology inspired, it would probably be from Dorconia. Whereas if it's like more of like an English or not, I wouldn't say as much German influence, but definitely like an English kind of influence, it would be from Castleguard. German is more Mannheim, and I'll get back to that later when we get there. Mildestad is kind of this fictitious kind of Middle East and India and Jewish kind of hybrid Egyptian. So kind of like all this in one. I know it might be kind of like uh, yeah. I don't want it to sound like it's like a monolith of a culture, but it's just like its own thing that's kind of taking inspirations from different, I guess, kinds of cultures. It's kind of its own thing at the end of the day, but it's a place where I would want there to be a lot of even like inspiration from like Las Vegas, you know? So it's not like based on one thing. Like all these are kind of based on like multiple kinds of themes that I kind of just hodgepodged into one. But I would describe them as, they have like pyramids. They got like probably like a casino eventually. I like the idea of there being kind of like this mob boss, but also this like colorful culture with like very like cool gemstones, stuff like that. That's kind of like the I guess the brush strokes of what I would consider that to be at the moment. These blue guys right here, this is some ideas for like ice troll people up in Gunner's Grim, which is going to be kind of like the northern area. So I like the idea of their. I don't know if I like the idea of there being elves, but I think that it broadens the scope of what I can work with if I do include them as like a canonical thing in the world. So we've got ice trolls, and then we've got kind of like the Viking people. Um, and this is kind of definitely just like a Norse mythology sort of thing. Again, going into too in depth into these cultures would be quite a massive scope to undertake if I were to like really flesh out each individual like Scandinavian like culture or each individual like India and all that stuff. You could make an entire game, an entire world on like each one of these cultures. So it's just kind of like broad strokes. Down here, these are kind of like old ancestral people who have been kind of enslaved by these vampires. One of the kinds of themes that I think is interesting is like these vampires as almost like these like uh, how would I describe it? Like it might sound weird, but just like vampires as these kind of like almost like blood plantation owners that like kind of like have slaves. I don't know. I just think that's like kind of it's like kind of like a horror kind of concept, but like there's like a way to kind of make it a little bit more I don't know. I guess like you'll just see it when you see it, but that's kind of like the vibe I'm going with here. These like vampires came in, they're kind of like using these human people as like blood livestock, if you will. And then you've got Mannheim, which I kind of had some ideas for some kind of German um, inspirations, but just kind of also magic school and that kind of stuff. And then over here we've got the four different kind of houses similar to Harry Potter. I don't know how much I'm going to use these houses, but just to kind of canonize their designs, I guess. I may have talked about in the past. You've got the Azure Bears in blue, the Crimson Tigers in red, Golden Eagles in yellow, and then the Verdant Deer in green. I don't know how much I'll make that into this game. Maybe there'll be like a mini game or something about it, but right now it's just kind of like an idea more than a canon thing. Then we've got Novalock. these people are kind of like dark skin with orange hair. I like the idea of like them kind of being like these lava people, who kind of live in the mountains near this like sacred volcano that's kind of holy to them, and kind of like dragons and stuff like that. Kind of like uh, interesting like Hawaiian vibes meets like Asian vibes meets like African vibes. I don't know, just kind of like another hodgepodge kind of society again. That's kind of not really supposed to be one single thing, just kind of like themes put into one. These green people, this is Thylanus. This is, I guess, my take on elven society. That's kind of like a mix between wood elves and high elves, while they're in like this like jungle. So almost like a little bit more, almost like, and again, these are really broad strokes, but just to kind of like paint the picture, I like to almost think of it as like Amazon rainforests with like some Aztec influence in there as well. Um, so yeah, that's, I guess, just elves. And then down here we've got Victoria. In Victoria, I kind of like sort of like these nobles with like pink and purple hair, kind of like very like feminine pink and very like royal purples. And then their commoners kind of have like gray and white hair. And I think there's like some aspect of like anime influence, even though I don't really see myself as like an anime person. But I think because this game allows you to have so many different like hair colors, I think that helps with characterizing different people. So you got orange hair from Novolok, green hair from Thylanus, all the different shades. You've got the pink and purple down here, blue and red hair, kind of in the ice trolls, but also red hair from the Doriconia. I was thinking about maybe having blue hair from Castleguard as well, but I don't know because I already have blonde hair in Castleguard and Gunner's Grim. But at the end of the day, I guess it's just kind of like a game. It doesn't have to be like like very concrete, super well thought out, flawless system where like every genetic code is like really considered to a point. Again, just broad strokes, 120 characters, and hopefully from this we can, well, we've already started making um, the towns a bit more fleshed out, but this was supposed to be the point where I start kind of populating towns and kind of, yeah. So that's, I think this is about how long the last video was. Hopefully the audio doesn't, or hopefully it does record this time. See you later in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.